everybody, it's Woodrow, and as you can see, it is time to dig into the main previews catalog for the month of December 2022. That would be catalog number 411. Keep in mind this is for books that will be hitting shelves mainly in February 2023 or later. I am absolutely overjoyed at this cover because it is sure to be Image's big hit of the new year, Local Man, which was co-created by great friend, brother really, of the show, Mr. Tony Felice, along with Tim Seeley, another friend of the show. We're going to talk a bit more about that when we open up the catalog and jump into Image. Go ahead and do that right here and now. Okay, here you have it. Local Man #1, story, art, and cover A. Tim Seeley and Tony Felice. If you are current on our main podcast, you heard Tony talk about this book when he was on. He and Tim are both unabashed fans of 90s era superhero comics, and so they wanted to do a play on that where they take turns drawing. Basically, it's a book that's set in both it's a rural crime book and a superhero book all rolled into one. Kind of flashes back and forth, and Tim and Tony each take one part of that visual narrative and handle the drawing. So it's really going to be fun to see their two styles juxtaposed against one another. And you can see here, I mean, if this doesn't evoke 90s era, early Image founder stuff, I don't know what does. So really excited for this book, both personally and for our buddy, and hope you all support it in droves. And they were kind enough to give us a bunch of pages as well. So you can see it looks great. Both Tony and Tim look fantastic here. Keeping with the Image #1s, we've got Torrent #1. Mark Guggenheim is the writer. Justin Greenwood is the artist. I've had a ball getting to know Justin the last few years, and he's a terrific dude and also quite a talented artist. So they're basically bringing a new superhero universe into the fray, which is a bold thing. It's history has not been kind to non-Marvel DC superhero universes. But hey, if it's good, it's good. So we will see how this goes, but I certainly will give them their support at the outset. We've got another #1 by Image called The Almighty, or not The Almighty, sorry, Almighty #1 of 5. It's a miniseries. I don't know much about Edward LaRoche, who writes and draws it, so I can't speak to this much, but I will say that the solicit preview artwork looks good. The Last Barbarians #1 by Brian Haberline and Gerard Van Dyke. This is a series premiere. I will say the art's pretty jaw-dropping. I mean, look at the epicness and look at the texture of this mountain setting. And then I like the facial features. I love the strong black outline. So, this could be like one of the big hit fantasy books of 2023. Either way, I'm going to give it a try. And Image is overloading us with #1s this month. Here we have Monarch #1. This is a series premiere written by Rodney Barnes with art by Alex Linz. If you all watched my video a week or two back on Philadelphia, I am a big fan of Rodney Barnes and his writing. So that certainly piques my interest. And I will be giving this a try on the basis of his being involved. And can we give Image props for showing us multiple pages of preview images for all of these books? I mean, how great is that to help you decide if it's worth your attention, right? A couple collections here of worth your attention. The Bone Orchards Mythos 10,000 Black Feathers hardcover. Lemire Sorrentino. You all know I do not ever skip a Lemire hardcover when it's solicited. Stoked. I have not been reading this because I wanted to wait until it was all collected in one, and I cannot wait to dive in. Do a Powerbomb just wrapped up. 7-issue miniseries by our buddy Daniel Warren Johnson. I would imagine a lot of you are reading in issues, but if you're looking to double dip or you are a trade waiter, here's your chance to get the trade. We've got the Good Asian hardcover. Nice to see. I don't know. I'm pleasantly surprised because Good Asian wrapped up a little bit ago, and so I wasn't sure what they were going to do in terms of the collection. This collects all 10 issues, and you'll notice it says the Good Asian colon 1936, which leads me to believe they do have plans to do more Good Asian stories, which is good news for a lot of us. Magic Order Volume 3, you should be getting that absolutely. All Against All, I can definitely recommend this series after loving the first issue. Black Cloak, Kelly Thompson, Veronica Fish. I have not read the first issue yet, but yeah, I have confidence that Kelly's going to absolutely crush it in her first creator-owned work in a very long time. Bloodstained Teeth continues to be a bunch of fun. Of course, I Hate Fairyland. I shouldn't need to tell you about the goodness of that. Immortal Sergeant, number 2 of 9. We talked for a long time last month about the Joe Kelly, Ken Nomura getting back together to give us a comic after years and years have gone by since the masterpiece I Kill Giants, which they did together. Kaya number 5, Philadelphia number 28. Magic Order Volume 4, DK Ruan on art. It's going to be a banger. Little Monsters, Lemire and Nguyen. Shouldn't need to tell you how awesome that is. Monstrous continues to be amazing, although I do buy that in the hardcovers, so I have a ways to wait until I get to read issue number 43. Nightclub number 3 of 6. I just reviewed the first issue on this week's podcast and thought it was quite enjoyable. It's basically what if Spider-Man was a vampire, is kind of the way to think about it. Saga, still I would argue, one of the, if not the best book coming out, and continues to do so, and will likely continue to hold that crown until they stop publishing Saga. Something is Killing the Children, number 29, must read. House of Slaughter, must read. R.L. Stine Comics, not a must read. On this front, Jason Aaron, Alex DeFenke, Once Upon a Time, at the End of the World, number 4. As I said, when the first issue was solicited, it's just amazing that we have Jason back doing creator-owned comics, where I think he does some of his best work. The Approach, number 5 of 5. I have only read the first issue of this so far, but I thought it was a terrific start. I'm a big fan of both Jeremy Hahn and Jason Hurley, and the artists that they have doing the book with them, Jesus Hervas, I was unfamiliar with until this, but it's certainly up to the task of telling the story that they're telling. So give that a read if you want another interesting horror comic in your stack. The Blue Book, number 1 of 5. Written by James Tynion IV with Michael Avon Oeming on art. Pretty cool. So I'm pretty stoked for this. It's Tynion describes this as true weird stories. It's basically tales of ordinary people encountering the strange and the impossible. So if you're a fan of What If or Black Mirror or conspiracy stuff, X-Files stuff, I think this is going to be right up your alley. So I'm hoping Vince enjoys this as well, and we can double team on it when we review it. But look at Oeming is terrific. He's got an art style that's right up my alley. With the simple line, the strong use of black, he usually plays with a relatively slim color palette, and I'm a huge fan of that as well. It's no secret he looks a lot like Victor Santos. They are buddies and collaborators, and you know I rock with Victor Santos hard. So pretty excited for this one. Kyle Starks has a new book out called Where Monsters Lie. It's a 4-issue miniseries with Peter Kowalski on art. Looks fun. It's like, what if a bunch of psychopaths all hung out together at a place? And it seems just like totally out there, and I think Kyle Starks is just the right kind of writer to pull that off. I know Dap and Vince are very excited about the new Richard Corbin library being brought to Dark Horse. When I say new, I mean it's new to Dark Horse. These are not new stories. These are collections of some of Corbin's work over his illustrious career. The newest run of Shaolin Cowboy, Cruel to Be Kin, has wrapped up, and we've got a nice hardcover of it in this solicits. And then something I'll be buying for sure, Madman Library Edition Volume 4. This collects Madman Atomic Comics number 1 through 17. And Yeah, I've only read the first volume of this so far, but I'm buying them all, and it's killer stuff. I don't know why I didn't read it when it was first coming out. We've got another welcome addition to the World of Black Hammer Library Edition collection. This is volume 5. This collects Black Hammer Visions number 1 through 8. I can, as always, I can tell you that anything Black Hammer related is worth your attention. Spy Superb number 2 of 3, the Matt Kint spy book. Matt does great spy comics, always has, so check that out for sure. And Grendel Omnibus Volume 4. I have read the first 2. The third has not arrived, but I'm really enjoying finally digging in deep into Matt Wagner's, one of his 2 seminal works. I've been buying the Sumerian hardcovers as they come out, so I won't be getting this, but if you haven't been doing that, this is a nice way to get them all. It's a 4-issue box set, and it's all very, very good, high-quality Conan stuff. On page 265, you will notice Friday Foster, The Sunday Strips. I spoke lovingly about this book when it was first solicited a year and a half ago. It's awesome. And I wanted to call your attention to this because I get the sense this book wasn't a huge seller when it was first solicited, and it definitely should have been. So the fact that they're resoliciting it, this is a chance for a lot of you to jump on this one, because I know a lot of you were intrigued when I talked about it, but then had trouble finding the book. So now is your chance. Okay, we're in the back now. You have to really kind of dig in, roll up your sleeves, look for stuff. Parker Girls, come on, son. Parker Girls is phenomenal. This is neat. Dan Panosian is friend of the show, an incredibly talented artist, but he's been understandably also trying to transition into writing for other people the last few years. And here he's got a new series with AW Upshot, illustrated by Dalibor Talajic. So I'm a fan of Dalibor's line, and certainly I want to support Dan, so I'll be checking this one out. I just want to point out on page 324 in the Drawn and Quarterly section, Acting Class by Nick Dernasso and Ducks by Kate Beaton. 2 excellent books that came out this year. They're resolicited here. I think both will be on quite a few best of lists for the year, in particular Ducks, and they certainly are of that caliber. So check them out if you haven't already. Fantagraphics always has stuff of interest, and their featured item, The Extraordinary Part, Book 1, Orsay's Hands by Rupert and Mulot. Those names should be familiar to you because they were the creators behind the Grand Odalisque and Olympia, as well as the Perineum Technique, all excellent books. In particular, Grand Odalisque and Olympia, which I talked about on the show as they were coming out, about a trio of art thieves, and it's great to see them back again. So this is the first of a new 2-volume series set in a near dystopian present where mysterious creatures called holes coexist with humans. Okay, SourcePoint roped me in with a very creative solicit here. It rhymes with funt. Yes, you heard that right. It rhymes with funt. Written by Tim Fuller, art by Matt Baker and Ray Olson. Look at the cover treatment. A sham graphic novel. The team knew her as Margot Funt, or the town knew her as Margot Funt, but they had another name for her behind her back. It rhymes with funt. And then this fake, presumably fake quote that says, preposterous and redundant, a true ... masterpiece. From the New Yorkshire, so yeah, it's fake. But, well, I have to say I'm intrigued because this seems like a takeoff on an old pulpy comic, and it could be absolutely fantastic and uproarious, or it could be terrible. I don't know. But I have to say that the solicit got me, so I'm going to give this first issue a try, and we shall see where the experiment takes me. I am starting to really be impressed with Vault. I think they're doing a nice job of curating interesting titles and not overstuffing the market, because it's very hard for smaller publishers, even with a decent reputation, to get shelf space, particularly with the economy slowing down a bit. So Godfell #1, written by Chris Sabella with art by Ben Hennessy. I'm not going to read the entire solicit, but the premise it looks like is that Zanzi Vulin is a berserker, and she's coming back from fighting a long war. And on her way home, she comes across the massive body of a dead god, which is being ransacked by all measure of creature. And she has to basically go across the terrains and cross the body from toe to head. Could be very interesting. And then, of course, right next to it is Barbaric Hell to Pay #2, the follow-up series to the awesome Barbaric series by Moretti and Nate Gooden. So, yeah, kudos, thumbs up to Vault. Keep an eye on them. I think they're on the come. All right, that wraps it up. So hopefully you found some things that you maybe missed or weren't aware of, and you added them to their order. And we will be back, of course, next month for another dive into the big catalog.